imagine you can breathe in through all the pores of your skin. And breathe out through all the pores. And with every breath, feel that the breath travels a little deeper and deeper inside. So the space within the body is also infinite. Our cells are all made of infinite specks of light and vibration. Each speck of light is made of infinite more specks of light and vibration. So allow your breath to travel inside deeper and deeper and deeper. Letting go for the time being of any concern towards anything beyond the perimeter of the body. And coming closer to the source of the heartbeat. And take a deep breath in. From time to time throughout the day, one really present Om will likely do you a lot of good. That's good vibrational medicine. So Om is said to be the vibration of the highest. It has unlimited healing. It's of the nature of unconditional love. So from time to time, maybe take a little pause, do an Om, imagine you're sending that vibration through all of your body. And then carry on. There's some new waves. Hello. So the first question that came in, I'm going to read it to you. I think many of us will relate. She said, sometimes with the distractions and hustle in life, we don't get to do complete sets of yoga practice. And it creates a sort of anxiety knowing that the benefit is best when you go through a full set rather than get cut off or do only part of them. Is there a better way to look at yoga? Is there a way to practice that can serve us when done right, but also if we want to just try to incorporate as much as we can whenever we can, and how do we ensure that these small sessions can actually be effective? I talked a little bit about this last week when I was talking about karma yoga. I think an important thing with this question and with everything is to remember the purpose of yoga. I say it a lot, you may get sick of it, but the real purpose of yoga is self-realization. So the real reason we do these practices is to remember who we really are beyond the limitations of the mind, the body, the senses. And the texts tell us that who we are is love, or consciousness, God, the forces. Whatever this mysterious signal is in the center of the heart space that is breathing through the body, that's causing the heart to beat, that's the source that makes everything in life possible, that enables flowers to bloom. That's what we are, that force. And because we've forgotten that, we identify with the exterior. So it's like if a tree identified and thought it was just one branch, right? And we think we're limited in our realization of what we are. The practices of yoga are all of the tools and techniques that help us to reconnect to our heart and to remember who we are. And physical yoga practice is a really tiny part. You don't even have to do a physical yoga practice to practice yoga effectively. And in reality, yoga is something that we're meant to practice 24/7. So the texts talk about two qualities, abhyasa and vairagya. Someone also sent a question in, how do we practice vairagya? Abhyasa means constant practice. We need constant practice because we are really tuned in to our ego. We really believe in the way we've been taught to see the world and to perceive things. We really believe that we're separate beings. And vairagya is dispassion or non-attachment. This is like a radical acceptance. So going through life moment to moment, instead of fighting, I don't want this, I don't want things to be like this, I don't like this, I don't want this circumstance, saying, okay, yes, for the time being, for right now, okay, right now I'm here. How from my heart can I navigate what I have right now? Instead of aversion is, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, how do I just make this go away? So there's an element of trust that comes into this, and trusting that whatever circumstances we're given are actually going to help our hearts unfold. They're going to bring us closer to love. And it's usually the more challenging situations that do develop our hearts. I'm sure you can see right now already, even though there's so much fear and there's so much anxiety and there's lots of loss of physical bodies, there are some changes where people, I've seen many more strangers making eye contact and talking longer. People are taking more time with each other. There is some beauty, and the main beauty that comes from it is the main teaching of yoga is that we're all connected. So a lot of the sickness that's happened on the planet, the sickness of our mind, is that we think we're separate and we're competing with each other all the time. And actually we're all part of the same organism. Someone else in the reading I shared last week is like my finger, right? We're different parts of one body. And through yoga practice, we eventually learn how to develop compassion so we can see ourselves in others. And then also to live, instead of in a place of competition, we move towards living in a state of collaboration and realizing that someone else's success is our success too. That actually for this whole organism to be healthy, all of us need to be healthy and cared for. So trust. I wandered a bit from this question though. So how do we do this if you don't have time to do your whole physical practice? This is okay. I shared last week when I was at the yoga ashram, I was the hostess, and I had a job where I had a cell phone. So I would do, I'd start my pranayama practice, and then the cell phone would ring. And in the beginning, I was very angry, like, oh, I don't get to practice, okay. Yeah, okay, I have to go do this. And then I realized, oh, this is a gift. This is actually teaching me how to carry here. You're cultivating an energy and a presence when you do this breathing practice. Now can you carry that energy and presence into the next action that you take? So not worried so much about how long we do our practice for, and actually not separating our spiritual practice from our daily life. They're meant to be merged. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali recommend a practice of constant discrimination between the real and the unreal. Constant. And in yoga texts, the unreal is anything that's of form, that's impermanent. So anything that's going to arise and pass is considered unreal. The real is that which exists forever. So that's the source behind things, whatever it is that's causing our hearts to beat. And there's just one source. The same thing that's causing my heart to beat is causing your heart to beat. It's causing everything to bloom. It's causing all of nature to move. So there's this separation or this discernment between what is soul and what is nature. And nature is beautiful, and we're meant to cherish it and take good care of it, but nature is continually evolving and changing forms. So our physical body is nature. Our mind is nature. The thoughts of our mind aren't always the same. In fact, you can have a thought and really believe it 1 minute, and then an hour later, you might not even believe it anymore. So that's considered not real in yoga philosophy. Something real is always real under all circumstances. And in the texts, all that is love. Love without any conditions. So the ego puts on these layers on tops of things, likes and dislikes, preferences, and this causes suffering, creates this illusion of competition. So how do you practice this? You take moments throughout your day. Let's do the practice right now. You can just take your hand on your heart and allow your eyes to close. Invite the skin of your palms to become really sensitive. So you may start to feel the pulse through your fingertips. You might even feel the pulsation of your heartbeat. And this is the place in the body where wisdom resides. God or love or energy or the forces, whatever you believe in, it's not outside of us, it's something inside of us, closer to us than our own breath. Allow yourself to take a few breaths here, experiencing your heart. And then gently open your eyes. You can do that hundreds of times throughout the day. So if you feel like you don't have time for a full practice, pause, take a breath, and then see if you can carry the wisdom of this experience into your actions. And whenever you realize the mind is getting caught up, then go back, stop for a moment, take a breath. I'm going to read something from, I love this book. This is Be Here Now by Ram Dass. And it's all art. And then I'm going to read something from this book that I think it connects to this question. So this is a story he's sharing. He says, about 5 years ago, I'm living in this community in California with a very, very beautiful high being, a visionary artist, a very beautiful guy named Steve, his wife and child. And I'd have a day off. It would be Saturday, and we'd go to the store. The dog, the babies, we'd all get into the Volkswagen microbus. There'd be Jane, the gal I was living with, and her baby, and me, and Steve, and Barbara, and the whole scene going shopping. We'd get to the door, and Dakota, Steve's daughter, would start to cry. We gotta get to the store. I have Saturday mornings free, and Saturdays we shop. All right, cool it. The baby doesn't cool it. She cries. Well, maybe we'll go to the store with her crying. Or maybe the mom better stay home with her. She doesn't like this. She cries louder. Let's go, come on. Are we going or aren't we? What's wrong? She's just being a kid. Then Steve says, what's the use of going to the store? It's like, what price, efficiency, what happened to the vibrations? What happened to the human beings in that shuffle? So we do this absurd thing. We'd all stop and gather. We'd all sit down and join hands around this little kid. We'd cool ourselves out. The baby would stop crying. And then we'd go to the store. And Steve taught me that if you get so efficient, if you've got to turn off all the vibrations of the scene because you're so busy about the future or the past, or time has caught you, it costs too much. And I think a lot of us carry the vibration of rush and panic and efficiency into every moment of our life. That's an energy of the ego. That energy is rooted in fear of not doing enough, in fear of not being enough. And then that's the vibration that we're sending to everyone. So pause. When you need to pause, take a breath. And then see if you can travel into the next moment more gently. Kindness. The next question that came in was, how do you surrender? So last week I was talking about the importance of surrender. And really surrender is realizing that everything that's happening is happening for us. It's not happening to us. So in yoga there's something called prarabdha karma. These are the experiences that we're meant to go through in this life that are kind of going to polish us. This is like the pot that the cooking happens in. We need to do a little bit of cooking to develop our hearts and to develop some of these qualities. If we were always pleasant all the time, we wouldn't have any incentive to practice. And some people say, so why don't we just always be pleasant all the time? Because there's actually a higher love that we're capable of, a much, 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 much higher love. So if you can contemplate that we really actually want to evolve to this higher love, and that these trials and difficulties that we go through are the stimulus that enable us to do that, it helps. Other things that help with surrender are dropping the words I, me, and mine. So instead of thinking that something's happening to you, see if you can change to words like the, right? Oh, this house, or even if you call it God, whatever you call it, like this home that you live in right now, it's not the ego's. Right now, your body is living in it for a bit, but you'll leave it at some point. Think of it as a gift that you've been given from Source for a short time, instead of something that's yours, that you have to have. And a practice that I really love that one of my teachers, Sally Kempton, shares is to offer everything. So our senses are very limited, right? We can only see certain things through our eyes. We can only hear certain frequencies through our ears. She does the practice of offering the action of seeing to that source deep within you that is actually seeing through the eyes. Not the ego that analyzes and judges everything it sees, but that deeper source that's perceiving through. So she, if you go for a walk, say, okay, God, enjoy this view. You can enjoy it through my body. You can enjoy hearing these sounds through this body. You can enjoy feeling these experiences. You can enjoy what it's like to dance through this body. But doing everything as an offering. And Bhakti Yoga is a really good practice for surrender. So I know the person who sent this question in. Two things I'd say: always ask for help. So if you're having a hard time surrendering, stop, take a few breaths with your heart, and then say, okay, show me. The ego doesn't know how. Show me how to navigate this through your wisdom. Show me just what the next step is. And sometimes if you're not given a next step, the next step is patience. Dharma says when a difficult time arises in our life, in reality we should be so grateful. Oh, thank you that I get a chance to go through this karma and learn what I meant to learn through it, that I get to be, scrubbed clean through this experience. And if we resist the experience, then we miss out on the teaching that we're meant to have as a gift, and then it's going to have to come back again. So it's very wise, if you can, when something difficult comes up in your life, say, okay, yes, this too. I'm here. Show me how you'd like me to navigate this. Show me a wise way to move through this. And remember that joy is important. So Bhakti Yoga, the practice of chanting, is very helpful. And surrender, the Hanuman Chalisa is a beautiful chant to do for surrender. If you Google Krishna Das in YouTube, you can find the Hanuman Chalisa with lyrics, and you can sing with him. He's also doing free satsangs on Thursday night that are very nice on YouTube. So surrender, how do we do it? Working on an inner attitude of acceptance. Changing the lenses of our glasses to, instead of seeing this as suffering and punishment, seeing that, okay, this is a gift. This, even though it seems like such an ugly, horrible, difficult gift, This is going to teach me how to love even more. And then practice joy, practice gratitude. I shared a talk on YouTube a while ago about gratitude. It's very important right now to really notice, in a time where lack can be pointed out and the stuff that isn't there, what's still here? What do we have right now? What are you grateful for? What teachings are available to us? And I have a little gratitude box on my meditation altar there, a little pen. Every moment that something like pops up, I write down, oh, thank you for this, put it in there. So you're really integrating that gratitude into your life. I also put, for surrendering, open your arms and laugh. Say, okay, this too, okay. This time I'm going to go through this, but I realize now the ego doesn't know how to navigate. I surrender this to you. I hope that is helpful. Laugh and play. Very, very important. And similar to the student who had asked about Vairagya, how do we practice Vairagya? So I'll read here from the Yoga Sutras. Vairagya again is radical non-attachment and dispassion. So two of the things we're really meant to practice in yoga, this abhyasa, this constant practice. So we're constantly working with the mind, and then this non-attachment. So we're watching things arise and pass away, but we're not concerned as they do. And Dharma recommends sometimes during meditation, when you sit in meditation, to imagine that there's a security camera and the tape, there's no video tape in it. So that helps you just to just see what's happening, see the movements, but not record it, not keep it all in there, and then not add the layer of story and preference and like and dislike. And so this is what the Yoga Sutras say about Vairagya. Freedom is that triumphant state of consciousness that is beyond the influence of desire. So our external desires put us in bondage. Because we don't know who we are, because we're not connected to this happiness in our own heart, we're looking for happiness outside. This is bondage, because everything we find outside that makes us happy has an ending. It arises, it passes. So it says freedom is this state of consciousness that is beyond its external desire. Instead of looking at things outside and wanting to possess and hold them, we look at them with adoration. Wow, that's beautiful. And then the next moment, beautiful. Just seeing things as they come. So the mind ceases to thirst for anything it has seen of or heard of, even what is promised in the scriptures. So practicing Vairagya, similar to surrender, radical acceptance of what's coming up in the present moment. So whatever we resist persists. Instead of fighting right now, no, I don't want this, just okay, yes, okay. And surrendering all of your actions. Dharma recommends when we do asana practice to do every pose as an offering. So instead of, it can be really tricky in our mind, being like, I want to do this so that I can do a handstand because then I'll feel really strong and good. That's all attachment, that's all for the ego. Instead of offering the efforts, I'm here to experience all these sensations, to stay steady and observe these sensations and allow whatever to develops from them to develop. So you do your actions without attachment to the outcome. Remembering that we are not the doer. So what we identify with is actually nature. And nature is evolving according to the conditions. So I'm not evolving independently of anything else on the planet. We're all evolving together according to the conditions that arise. They're helping us to move closer and closer to our hearts, to develop greater compassion, to learn how to see ourselves and others. So how do you practice Vairagya? Radical acceptance, surrender. I'd say the same things. I'd say practicing devotion, bhakti yoga, Hanuman Chalisa is very good. And then verse 33 of the sutras is a beautiful verse to practice. It So it teaches to be happy for those who are happy. So that means the moment someone's happy, be happy. Sometimes someone's happy and we're like, oh, they shouldn't be happy about that, and then we're judging, right? So then there's attachment there. Be compassionate for those who are sad. Okay? Be joyful for those who are fortunate. So if someone gets something amazing, even if it's something that you wanted, celebrate. That we can celebrate and experience things through other people's bodies. That we're all actually one. And then the last one is be indifferent towards those you perceive to be wicked. So I love that one because it really acknowledges that our perceptions aren't correct. That often even the characters that seem the most horrible and the most wicked are playing a role that is necessary for all of our evolution. So that's a practice you can help. Non-attachment, it goes with abhyasa, constant practice, because it doesn't happen overnight. So we are meant to moment by moment, keep practicing. And remember, as you walk out, constant discrimination between what is permanent, what is eternal, and what is impermanent, what's changing. So that we are realizing we're in a sea of change, observing the change. The last question, someone said, how do you cultivate tapas? Tapas is willpower. In these days of less structure, fewer set routines, and heavy energies. Heavy energy sticks out to me there, and fewer set routines. So the practice, Swami Shivananda always recommends having a spiritual diary. Now this means I have one during this time right now, and it's a schedule. This is what my spiritual practice will be. I'm waking up at this time and I do meditation, and then I do this chant, and then, so actually create a structure. You can create a structure, and create a structure that isn't just hard work. Because of these heavy energies, you're realizing now, create a structure that includes joy. Create something that connects you to your heart. Maybe there's like 10 minutes of dance time every day, or you know, with the kids, you sing and you play or something. Make sure that it's a joyful structure that you look forward to. Spiritual practice doesn't have to be torture. If it is, then you'll fall off the path very quickly. So make it a structure that you can also look forward to, and that you want to practice. And then you'll start to see the benefits, and you'll stick with that. So spiritual diary is a great thing to do. And I recommend today, take some time. Okay, what practices do I want to set as a routine that will help? I know she has a family, not just you, but the family. You can create that structure. We also have right now, you know, a slate being swept clean is an incredible outlet for creativity. So right now we can recreate, how do we wish to spend our time? How are we spending time before in ways that we don't want to pick that up again? Like on Sunday, I went to deliver my parents' groceries, and they made a snowman in the front yard because I won't go in their house right now, keeping my distance because I'm still in the world doing stuff for them. And it reminded me of a Sunday in the 80s, and that time was really special to be unplugged and turned off. So maybe we slow down and we don't ramp everything up as much after. So create a structure that really resonates, that brings joy to you, and that's your choice. Like, really, what would your heart like? All right, I'll finish with a little reading here. This is from Sadhana, Swami Shivananda. And it kind of connects to all of these things. So ultimately, all of this connects to our inner attitude. Working to practice an inner attitude of faith, of devotion, and of love. So we're learning to see sameness everywhere. Inner happiness and omnipresence of the Lord. Waves originate in water, depend on water, and dissolve in water. The only support for the whole world is the Lord. If you don't resonate with that word, you can think of love. Right? Love, or this one consciousness, or the forces, or energy. So the only support for this entire existence is love. Realizing thus and feeling that this presence is everywhere, the wise worship and Act with devotion and affection in all places. The Supreme is the same in all countries and at all times. The necklace contains many beads of various forms, but there is one single thread that connects them. The thread is their very support and being. So the practice of yoga is to learn to connect to our thread instead of identifying as separate individual beads. Even so, in the diverse jivas are different souls, and worlds that exist, there is one common life principle. The Supreme Brahman, this is God, consciousness, love, as it is called, that unifies the entirety of existence. Happiness is only within. Short-term happiness is outside. Eternal, true, lasting happiness is within. Fix your gaze on the divine flame within, which is the essence of the universal light, which only shines and spreads peace. So the higher self, that's all it wants to do, to love, to shine, to spread peace. So we're surrendering from the ego's motives that are not usually aligned with that completely, and coming to this will, higher will. Find more time for meditation, for sitting alone and seeking and gazing at the flame within. He who will learn to swim must attempt swimming for some days. None can venture to swim in the sea after a single day's practice. So if you want to swim in the sea of love, you must make ineffectual attempts at first before you can successfully swim therein at last. This is the constant practice. So try. Don't worry, you failed. It's okay. Try again, try again, try again. First you have to learn to doggy paddle. Then you keep going. Within you is the hidden God or love. Within you is the immortal soul. Within you is the inexhaustible spiritual treasure. Within you is the ocean of bliss. Look within for the happiness which you have sought in vain in the perishable sensual objects. Rest peacefully in your Atman. So it's really recommending we take this time now to look inside for happiness. Flowers bloom and then fade. There is no need to praise the former and condemn the latter. That's just nature evolving. And same with all of our actions we've done as humans, just nature evolving. Self-compassion is important. We must receive whatever comes without excitement, pain, or revolt. Happiness is not found in external objects alone, in wealth and children, in power and position, in going from shop to shop, or by receiving present after present. But real happiness is to be found in one's own immortal, blissful soul, alone by practicing purity, dispassion, that's vairagya, non-attachment, and meditation. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Spend some time outside, really look at nature, and lots of love to all of you. Namaste.